It was a weird day. Headed out from the hotel at like 8. I was trying to get them to help me, or they were trying to help too, but I couldn't get on their Wi-Fi down in the lobby. But I was trying to print out my ticket to Bangkok because I all that I had was like an e-ticket, and I wasn't sure if that would work. So I walked to the airport, which actually was only like a mile and a half. So yeah, like it was so close. Um, and then the airport was like really small. Um, and You had to go through one level of security just going into the building. I wasn't expecting that at the time, so like I had my phone and stuff in my pockets. Like I went through the metal detector and it went off, so I had to go back through. But there wasn't really a line. There was like 3 people in front of me. Um, and then so I was trying to find Wi-Fi so I could try to figure out, or because in the email that I had from the airline, it was saying I could just download an app and use that as the boarding pass, or to get the boarding pass. Um, and so I was trying to find Wi-Fi. So I went to Burger King. And had a breakfast Whopper, which I can't remember if they have that in the States or not. I don't really go to Burger King. It's basically just a Whopper with bacon, which I don't know if that's usually on there, anyways. Um, and then I found out that you couldn't use the app, or like I had to check in person, so I had to go back downstairs. And I talked to one desk, and they told me to go to this other counter. Or I talked to one counter, and they told me to go to this other counter. So I got the ticket, and then got through. Like so it was really small. I think there was like 8 or 9 gates. Got on the plane. It was a really short flight. I think it was like an hour getting to Bangkok. Oh, the lighting in here sucks. Um, and I wasn't expecting, but they gave us like a little meal shortly after we got on the plane. It was weird. It was like a chicken teriyaki burrito. The tortilla part was thicker than a normal burrito, and then the like teriyaki sauce is more like paste. It didn't taste that bad, but I kind of struggled to eat the Whopper because I'm not really that much of a I don't have that much of an appetite first thing in the morning. And then we landed in Bangkok. And I had to leave security to get my because I still didn't have a ticket. And immigration went pretty quickly. I was trying to prevent a mistake I did with Japan, where uh, I like even now I still have like $20 worth of yen in my bag because I thought I could exchange it, but then it turns out you can't exchange coins. So I threw out a lot of the smaller ones, which were basically just like pennies, back in the wishing well at the condom restaurant. I figured I might as well hold on to those, so I have some spending money when I get to Japan soon. And the few coins that are left don't take up that much space. But so I didn't want to do the same thing with Bangkok, and so I was going to the currency exchange, and then they didn't have Vietnamese dongs. I figured I could exchange the bills when I get to Vietnam, and so the coins I thought I would just kind of find some things in the airport to buy. So I bought like a white chocolate hazelnuts. It's weird because it says white whole hazelnuts with crunchy roasted whole hazelnuts. It's like hazelnuts with hazelnuts. And then I still had, or so I got paid with that. With it was fairly large coins, but it came out to like 30 coins or whatever because it was like the equivalent of nickels. And so I felt bad for this woman having to count all these. And then I turned around and there was a vending machine, so I could have just gotten a few things from that. So I got a bottle of water and I think of Mentos Kids. I think that's in the States. I'd actually bought a bottle at the Chiang Mai airport when I was going back through security in Bangkok. I totally forgot that I had the bottle of water, so I had to just throw that away without drinking any of it. They had this random rule where you had to take like all of your electronics out of your bag, which I have more than most people. And So like normally I'm really good going through security because I like streamlined my system, but so that kind of threw me off, and then so I didn't think about the water. I actually had to wait a while for the plane, and so eventually we got on it, and then we had to wait more. I think we were basically taxiing for like half an hour. It was kind of a rough airline. The seats were very cramped. I was lucky because like no one was sitting in either seat next to me, but yeah, like there was like that those seats were not built for someone my size. So like my legs were like pressed up against the chair in front of me, and then that guy was kind of leaning back, so I had to pretty much kind of sit at an angle the whole time, and I didn't have much of a lap space. I couldn't really work on my laptop as much as I wanted to. And then they had all these weird rules. Like normally, like in the States, and I think there's like that in Taiwan. It's like so long as your phone's in airplane mode and you're not like on your laptop when the plane's taking off, you're fine. But, like this is like you couldn't have any electronics out. So I had to kind of like stealthily use my GoPro. And then on the food menu, I don't know if any of it was complimentary, which I wasn't that hungry again. But then I figured I also had the snacks that I'd saved and bought today, and there was on the menu there's like a note saying like you're prohibited from consuming your own food and beverages on the plane. I was like, okay. Hanoi Airport was actually probably one of my easiest travel processes. There's only like 10 people in front of me in immigration. I didn't have to fill out any kind of like arrival form. I didn't say anything to the guy, or he didn't say anything to me either. But I just gave him my passport, gave him the visa, and then it was done. And then I was looking for the currency exchange place, and there they like in Bangkok you had to show your passport if you're exchanging currency, but there you didn't have to do it, and then there was no fees or anything like that. So that was really smooth. I read online that there was a bus that goes from the airport to pretty much where I'd be staying today. Like there was two different buses, and I'm not that familiar with. Like each one goes to the general area that I was staying at, so I figured either way it wouldn't be that far to walk. I got on the one that actually would be a little. I thought it'd be a little bit farther. Turns out it was a lot farther. The guy next to me and I started talking for a while, so it's kind of encouraging to see someone able to speak English pretty well here. Like actually, I can understand, and this is kind of a recurring theme here. Is like I can understand people here speaking English much easier than a lot of the Thai people I was speaking to, because the accent's a little more natural for me to understand, because there's not as much like tones in Vietnamese compared to Thai, as far as I could tell. I was kind of worried because as we were going into the city, it didn't really look like a place I really wanted to be. There was a lot of like debris and like really run down neighborhoods. But it slowly started getting in better. And then I was like, well, then you figure I'll be even farther down the line. So by the time I get off, it'll be a much nicer place. And then I got off like right when I was thinking that. I got off because that was the end of the line for that route at that time of the day. So again, by that time it wasn't horrible, but it was farther than I was expecting to walk in the first place, and then it wasn't the best place to be. But I didn't feel like unsafe. It wasn't a very like picturesque road, and the sun was setting, so I didn't really have any chance to take any pictures. Eventually I got to the hotel. It's interesting. So I waited till the last minute to film this, so the room's kind of a mess. Yeah, first off, the light switches, at least in this building, look like that, and they work opposite of how you would think. Unlike Thailand, they have these card slots, but you don't need to put your card in there. I don't know if it's just this hotel or what. So it looks like I have a window, but actually it's just leading out to the staircase. The air conditioning worked like too well, and then the remote was held together by rubber bands. So in the middle of the night, I was trying to turn it off, and I couldn't get it to do it. So apparently you can flush here. Sometimes like the pressure will decrease and increase. I thought this was interesting. Rather than having like the little plunger thing, it's just like a little flipping thing. In the shower, I haven't taken a shower yet. I'm gonna try to take a quick one before I check out. But you see there's like a huge gap. So I didn't really cut it correctly. Oh, and then the bed is very hard. It's like, I don't know if it's... Oh, weird. It feels like there's just like wood, but I guess there's a mattress. I went out looking for restaurants, and there's just one that just kind of like there was like some barkers on the outside, and they're telling me to come in, and it looked like a decent enough place, and I didn't have any other thing in mind, so I just went in there. And I got a little worried because I thought I was getting a small dish, and then all of a sudden like they were bringing like all these veggies and stuff, and I was like, and there's like rice noodles, and I was like, what did I just order? But it was like a sort of like a hot pot thing, and so you kind of stir fry all these veggies, and when you heat them up, they condense down. So actually, I pretty much ate all of the food that they gave me, and then they had frog, which I wish I had tried that instead of the fish, because the fish was decent, but it was kind of tough. It was almost like a consistency of a sausage, but it was still good. And then they had all these little seasonings and toppings and stuff like that. So I walked back to the hotel, and there's a couple like staircases, and I can remember which one was the one that my room was up. So I get up, and the number wasn't matching. Like I was on the floor, the spot where I should have been, and the number wasn't matching. I was like, maybe I didn't notice that the number was wrong the first time, and so I put my key in and opened the door. I was like, okay, I guess I just didn't notice that the number was different. And I walk in. It wasn't my room. Luckily, no one was in there. But so apparently, all the keys work on all the locks, unless my key's special or it just happens to work for that room. Just to be safe, I did a little redecorating. I'm in like full zombie survival plan mode. First, I put the fridge in front of the door. And by the way, the fridge barely works. I don't think it works at all. Actually, it makes noise. Maybe it's not plugged in. Oh, jeez, it's not plugged in. So now, in the event that someone does try to get in, they have to push the weight of the dresser, the bed, and me. And in doing that, they would easily wake me up anyways. So, yay for home security. So, yeah. I walked like 9 miles today, flew however many hundreds, and then took the bus for like an hour. That's a lot of stuff that happened. When I was leaving the hotel, I got rid of a lot of my toiletries. The most interesting thing was the toothpaste I've been using. It was a charcoal salt toothpaste, which I guess it worked as far as cleaning, but like there's a weird taste. Like you get used to it with your teeth, but like brushing like or scraping your tongue with a toothbrush, it's like the back of my tongue is like really sensitive to that flavor, so it's like every time I start doing it, I start gagging. But the upside of that is the salty one doesn't affect your ability to taste other things after that. So like you can have orange juice after that or whatever. So that was my day. Anyway, until tomorrow. So I just took a shower. It sounds like I'm in a Christopher Nolan movie. I don't know what's going on outside.